Melbourne is on track to overtake Sydney as Australia's biggest city, that's spreading outwards rather than upwards. The 2016 census has also found Victorians are more multicultural than ever before and are turning away from religion. Kieran Jones has the details.
More than 2,000 people per week move to Melbourne. The census shows many choose the Wyndham area, with the Western Hub recording a 34% population spike since 2011.
When I came here, it was very reasonable, and that's probably the reason lots of other people moved here too.
The median rent for a Victorian dwelling has increased by 17% in the past 5 years, while the monthly mortgage repayments rose 1.6%. Despite those pressures, Victorians languish in the bottom three for median weekly income, forcing many people to move further out in search of affordable housing.
There's a lot of land between Werribee and Geelong, so you'll find that it's a lot more subdivisions going through.
The census shows Victoria is burgeoning with a population of more than 6 million, but with growth comes infrastructure problems.
There's a lot of bumpy roads around, plus traffic just going to the city.
There are now more Victorians who marked no religion on the census than there are Catholics or Anglicans, with a decline in religion amongst young people.
16% of our population was 65 years and over. That compares to 14% in 2011.
For the first time, the majority of Australian residents who were born overseas are from Asia rather than Europe. More than a quarter of Victorians come from foreign shores, with Indian-born residents making up 2.9% of the state's population, on top of a huge growth in Chinese-born residents, while the traditional influx from England has dipped.
There's about 1/5 of Australians who speak another language at home.
Among them, Waqas Siddiqui, who moved to Point Cook just 2 weeks ago.
It's the best decision I've taken in my life.
Kieran Jones, 9 News.
Well, Melbourne's booming population will pass Sydney in a little over 3 decades. The latest census shows 4.5 million people now call our city home. That's a rise of 12% in just 5 years. And for the first time, the majority of those born overseas come from Asia, not Europe.
There's always been a healthy rivalry between Melbourne and Sydney, but the latest census results are about to put that to bed. Our city will become the most populous in Australia by 2050, according to the latest statistics. Every week, 1,656 new people call Sydney home, while in Melbourne, that number is closer to 2,000.
Just 20 years ago, there was a lot of talk about how people are leaving the Rust Belt states and moving up to the Sunshine States. Well, there's certainly something else going on here.
The population in the area of Melbourne City increased to 136,000. That's up 45% compared with 2011. While Wyndham was the state's next fastest growing region, with 56,000 more people living there, making the total more than 200,000. The statistics paint a picture of a changing nation. For the first time in our history, the majority of people born overseas are now from Asia, not Europe. Our country remains religiously diverse. 52% of Australians are Christian, making it the most common religion, while smaller percentages identified as Islamic or Buddhist. Interestingly, nearly a third of the population reported having no religion at all, increasing by more than 2 million people. As for our income, the median for Victorians has gone up $83 and is just shy of $650 a week. But who is the typical Victorian? Well, she's a 37-year-old woman with at least one parent born overseas. She's married with 2 children, 2 vehicles in a 3-bedroom home with a mortgage. But as these statistics show, a lot can change and quickly. The next census is 2021. Emily Angwin, 7 News.